Carl Snowden, Anne Arundel County Circuit Court membership will change. May 22nd, 2017. The difference between a movement and a moment is commitment and sacrifice. A couple of weeks ago, scores of protesters stood in front of the Annapolis courthouse on Church Circle in the driving rain, protesting the lack of diversity on the Anne Arundel County Circuit Court. They pointed out that no African American woman and no Latino or Asian has served on the court in its 366-year history. Whether the governor was a Democrat or a Republican, whether he was a liberal or a conservative, black women and other minorities have been excluded from the bench, period. Just two African American males have served: Clayton Green Jr., who is now on the Maryland Court of Appeals, and Rodney C. Warren. In the county's district court, the demonstrators noted the situation is not much better. Four African Americans have served there: Green, S&V Ricks Jr., and currently serving Judges Daniel M. Mosley and Shaheem C.P. Spencer. Mary Selman Jackson was the only African American to ever serve on the county's Orphans Court. It's not as if qualified African American lawyers have not applied for the circuit court. They include Tracy Parker Warren, Keith J. Gross, Gloria Shelton Wilson, Janina Jackson Stevenson, Lorraine Jeanette Rice, Claudia Barber, Kevin Outing, Sheila E. Lundy Murray, Evelyn Darden, Doris Walker, and Ricky Nelson Jones. The late state senator, Ernest T. Allen Sr., once commented that to be a judge in this county, the law school you attended or your ranking there doesn't matter. You have to have a governor who likes you. But sometimes whom the voters like is more important. The current circuit court has a number of judges who've circumvented the process by running successfully against sitting judges. I suspect we'll see this again next year. The issue won't go away. The protesters at the last demonstration included whites, blacks, Latinos, women, housewives, and lawyers. There will be another demonstration in front of the courthouse on June 7th. The historic, systemic exclusion of people of color is not acceptable. There's a growing progressive movement in Anne Arundel. Groups like Action Annapolis, Huddle, Anne Arundel County, Annapolis Indivisible, showing up for racial justice, and Women Indivisible, Strong, and Effective are joining forces with the NAACP and the Caucus of African American Leaders to bring about social change. Are we going to have our courts and government reflect the people they serve? The demonstrators have taken up the cause. They know there's something wrong with the court system that does not reflect the people that it serves. There is something wrong when in 2017, clearly qualified black women are being passed over. Lawyers in the county know this. Judges know it. Politicians know it. Moments come and go. Movements change things. Governor Larry Hogan had an opportunity to make history with the stroke of a pen by appointing a qualified African American, Latino, or Asian to the circuit court. He did not. Like his predecessor, he maintained the status quo. The growing movement will manifest itself at the ballot box this year in Annapolis and next year in the county. It will move past the protest to progress. History always vindicates those who were right. We now know who was right on slavery, women's rights, the labor movement, and the civil rights. In our lifetime, we will see African American women serving in the circuit court in Anne Arundel County. Why? Because the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was right when he said, "Truth crushed to the earth will rise again, and no lie can live forever." There are some battles that are worth fighting. One of them is for society, based on diversity, fairness, and justice. One that is inclusive and not exclusive. A luta continua, which means in Portuguese that the struggle continues for equality and justice.